Welcome, aspirants, to another absolutely crucial General Studies Paper 2 explainer. Today, we're dissecting a highly significant Supreme Court judgment dealing with that very real friction between fundamental human safety and statutory animal rights. Understanding this constitutional balance is, frankly, non-negotiable for your mains examination. Let's dive in.
Okay, so our roadmap for today's session covers four main areas. 1. The Supreme Court verdict. 2. Article 21 and constitutional balance. 3. Governance and state directives. And finally, 4. Mains and interview strategy. Think of this framework as your perfect blueprint for structuring a high-scoring answer.
Section 1. The Supreme Court verdict, context and core ruling.
So let's look at the real-world context first. The Apex Court recently refused to modify its November 25 order regarding a very serious ground-level problem, which is managing stray populations in high-footfall public institutions. The court has clearly mandated the removal from sensitive places, think hospitals, educational institutions, and bus depots. And crucially, they noted that these dogs cannot simply be re-released into these same areas even after they've been vaccinated and sterilized.
And this brilliantly illustrates the judicial mind at work. We have a bench comprising Justices Vikram Nath, Sandeep Mehta, and N.V. Anjaria, who made a really profound observation here. They ruled that stray dogs do not possess an indefeasible or absolute right to occupy every single category of public space. Aspirants, make sure you remember these names and this exact phrasing. Precision like this is exactly what fetches you marks in mains.
Moving on to Section 2. Article 21 and Constitutional Balance, Harmonious Construction.
Now, please pay close attention here, because this right here is the constitutional core of your GS2 syllabus. The court effectively applied the doctrine of harmonious construction. They weighed statutory provisions, like the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act and the 2023 ABC rules, against fundamental human rights under Article 21. Clearly explaining this delicate balance is exactly what separates an average answer from a topper's answer.
I strongly urge you to literally memorize this exact quote for your exams. The bench observed, and I quote, "The right to live with dignity under Article 21 necessarily encompasses the right of every citizen to move freely, without living under a constant apprehension of physical harm. Basically, when human life is threatened by preventable hazards, the state cannot remain a passive spectator. The balance simply must tilt in favor of preserving human life."
Let's transition to Section 3, Governance and State Directives, Actionable Administration.
Moving over to the practical governance side of things, the Supreme Court noted what they called a discernible absence of systematic efforts by authorities in the past. So, to rectify this, they've laid down strict, mandatory requirements. States and UTs absolutely must establish at least one functional animal birth control center in every single district. They also need to ensure the round-the-clock availability of anti-rabies vaccines and immunoglobulins and set up a robust public health response mechanism for dog bites.
Now, what is highly critical about this protocol is how it handles the very sensitive topic of euthanasia. You see, the court did not give a blanket authorization here. It is a strict step-by-step process. First, authorities have to identify areas with alarming populations or frequent threat occurrences. Second, any action is subject to a proper assessment by qualified veterinary experts. Only then is euthanasia legally permissible, and strictly only for dogs that are rabid, incurably ill, or demonstrably dangerous.
And to ensure these directives don't just remain on paper, the Apex Court introduced a very powerful judicial oversight mechanism. They directed all high courts to initiate suo motu proceedings, meaning on their own motion, to oversee the compliance of these August and November 2025 directions. This is a real game changer for keeping local administrations strictly accountable.
Bringing it all together in Section 4, Mains and Interview Strategy, Application for Aspirants.
So, we leave you with this highly probable personality test question to ponder. How do we achieve a constitutional balance between the welfare of sentient beings and the fundamental right to public safety? Think deeply about this one. I challenge you to apply today's constitutional and governance takeaways to formulate a mature, perfectly balanced response. Keep studying hard, and best of luck with your preparation.